The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of some OPTAVIA coaches or clients of OPTAVIA. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the OPTAVIA team.
Well, welcome to the OPTAVIA Habits of Health call. I'm Shirley Mast. I'm a certified OPTAVIA coach, and it's my pleasure to host this call for you. Now, if this is your first time joining the Habits of Health call, a special welcome to you. In fact, put a 1 in the chat box if this is the very first time you've been on the Habits of Health call. This call is for all OPTAVIA coaches and clients and health professionals. You might not fit in any of those categories. Maybe you're just interested in learning more about our program or how to create better health. Whatever it is that brings you to the call this evening, a warm welcome to you. Now, you might hear content geared towards those that are in various stages of their health journey. Some will be in the weight loss phase, moving on towards better health. Some are in transition. Some are in the optimization phase, moving on towards a lifetime of optimal health. OPTAVIA offers excellent tools and support for weight loss, but we also have a lot to offer for anyone who's looking for better health in any area of their life. So if you are in the weight loss phase, maybe you're on our Optimal Weight 5 in 1 plan, please be sure to follow the guidelines that have been set up for you as guided by your free OPTAVIA coach. Now, this webinar is being recorded. It will be available on your OPTAVIA coach's co-branded website, as well as on our YouTube channel and on podcast. It's usually posted within 48 hours. So on YouTube, search for the Habits of Health Zoom. And for podcasts, just open the podcast player of your choice. We recommend iTunes and search for OPTAVIA. So if you're one of those who's listening to the recording, congratulations to you for investing in your health. And we invite you to join us live the next time to be part of the discussion. In fact, already the chat box is having a party over there. It's kind of fun seeing you all come in. So these Habits of Health support webinars are held every Wednesday evening at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So you can visit your OPTAVIA coach's co-branded website for the link. I am really excited about this evening's call. We do this particular topic about once a quarter. And every time I hear back from so many of you who are just so inspired by getting to hear stories of inspiration of people who have actually made the transition from obesity, even from morbid obesity, into freedom. So this evening I have as my guest again, Brittany May, and I know a lot of you are eager to hear her story. Actually, do this, put a 2 in the chat box if you've never heard Brittany's story before. I know a lot of you are big Brittany fans. Oh, Brittany, they're gonna be excited tonight. Boy, are you guys in for a treat tonight. So I'll introduce myself, but then I'm gonna introduce you to Brittany, and then we're gonna also have a chance for some interaction from you guys. Oh my word. Wow, Brittany, you've got a lot of people that are fans, but you've got a lot of people who've never heard your story. This will be fun. So I'll share just a little bit of my story just by way of introduction. Again, I'm Shirley Mast, and I am a certified OPTAVIA coach. And I came to this program at my physician's recommendation. He said to me, Shirley, he said, I think you need to take a look at this program. I think it's going to help you. I was probably the largest skeptic there ever was. I did not for a second believe it would help, but I was at a pretty desperate place in my health. I weighed close to 400 pounds. I was 48, almost 49. And it had occurred to me that if my health continued on the current trajectory it was on, that the odds were very good that I wouldn't get to meet my grandchildren. That bothered me a lot, of course, as it would for anyone who wants to be a grandmother. But I didn't know what to do about it. I'd always struggled with my health. I'd always struggled with my weight ever since I was in 3rd grade. I was the heavy kid. And I just didn't think that there was any way to effectively make a difference in my health. I started on the program kicking and screaming, fully expecting it to not work. When my coach said, how much would you like to lose? I said, wouldn't it be awesome to lose 50 pounds? I didn't think I'd lose 25. I got to the end of the 2nd week and realized, as a lot of you did on this call, actually one in the chat box if you resonate with any of this, okay? I recognized that I felt better. At the end of 2 weeks, I felt better. I had more energy, and I was thrilled with the rate of loss. And I thought, oh my goodness, all I need to do is follow this program, and I won't lose 50 pounds. I'll lose all of it. And so I went on, stayed with the program, plugged into everything that I needed to create long-term success. I lost 215 pounds on this program, and it has transformed my health. But what has happened since then, as I've become a coach and has paid it forward and helped other people to get healthy, has been breathtaking. So those grandbabies, you know, those ones that I didn't think I'd get to meet, well, we have 3 of them now. And grandmothers everywhere understand my delight with this. I can sit on the floor to play with them. I can get back up again. And I'm looking forward to one day, if God is gracious, dancing at their weddings. And the freedom it's given me has been pretty amazing. But yeah, see, I'm seeing this in the chat box. The grandmothers, they all understand this. So, but I would love to right now introduce you to the oh so amazing Brittany May. Brittany, come off mute. Share a little bit of your story with these people. They'd love to hear from you.
Oh, hi, guys. Hi. So crazy stuff. I was always on the larger side. I mean, basically from the womb, I was the last kid to finish laps in kindergarten soccer practice. I was denied access to ride a roller coaster in front of all of my friends in 7th grade. But we still managed. We got through high school, we got through college, we landed my dream teaching job. And then I found out that I was the limiting factor for my students. I couldn't drive. I couldn't drive them to field trips. I couldn't make it through the day to just be there for them. I was in a constant mental fog. And then I realized I also didn't know how much I weighed. Thankfully, I had this little birdie. I had a friend of mine from high school who just loved on me for actually about 1.5 years before I agreed to listen and just hear what she had to say. She was a trusting friend. Why not listen? But I realized there I was at 23 years of age, weighing 514 pounds. I was over 1/4 ton. And we had those same conversations at the beginning. How much would you like to lose? Like, I just want to be a better teacher for my students, and maybe one day to be able to buy pants in a store again. Again, tried everything else. Why was this going to work? But I saw from the very beginning that this wasn't just about losing weight. It was about gaining life. It was about celebrating the victories along the way. It was about relearning my relationship with food. It was creating so many other freedoms. I can drive a car. I can be there for my students. I'm no longer basically a hermit in my parents' house. And next year I'm getting married. This one spark of wanting to be a better teacher for my students and creating health in my life has allowed me to be exponentially more available in every other facet in my life. And that's been, every day I'm finding something new that I couldn't do before, or celebrating a victory that it's just, life's a party. And I thought last year was great. I thought this year was great. Let's see what next year has to offer.
I'm thinking maybe you have a lot of excitement coming up ahead, girl, and I'm just so happy for you. You've just made phenomenal progress and inspired so many people. And actually, you know, this would be kind of fun to watch. Put a 6. I'm just picking numbers at random. Put a 6 in the chat box. If Brittany's story is the reason I decided to get healthy. And then those of you that have just joined the call, can you perhaps mute the call? There we go. And put a 6 in the chat box if Brittany was the reason that you decided to get healthy. I know that she's impacted a lot of lives. And actually, I'm gonna just do a quick flyby on this, but Brittany and I have had quite the year with the media this year. So Brittany had the opportunity earlier this year to be a guest on Megyn Kelly Today. And if you missed seeing that interview, I have right here on the screen the bit.ly link to be able to go see that interview. It's bit.ly, for those of you that are listening, it's bit.ly/OPTAVIA Today, all uppercase letters. And you can watch that interview. I also had the opportunity to share my story in Women's World. And the thing that's really cool about this is that when people hear the stories like this, they start to realize that actually there's hope, that there really is hope to be able to transform your health. And if that's the only thing that you take away from tonight, Brittany and I will consider this to be a success. So here's what I'd like to do next. When we host this topic on a relatively regular basis. And so often what I'll do is I will have people share, can post questions into the Q&A box. And if you would like to do that tonight, if you have questions that you would like Brittany and I to answer either tonight or in a future call, put that into the Q&A box. Don't put it in the chat box. I won't be able to see it there because it goes by too fast. But we do have some questions that came up on the last time we hosted this call that I think would probably be helpful for some of you all to get to hear. So Brittany, I'm going to have you kick off the first one. One of the questions that was asked the last time is perfect timing because we are right in the thick of the holiday season. And that was, how did you on your journey to health, how did you handle holidays and social events? And by that, I'm assuming what they mean is, how did you do that and stay to your healthy eating plan?
Absolutely. So I live a very cheesy, corny, like wordy life, but failing to plan is planning to fail. And what I love about this is just the overwhelming support that you get with your one-on-one coach. And even now, you just connect with your coach and you make a plan. Food was a huge part of my life. All of these events were centered around food, and I needed to realize that I'm there for the family, not for the food on my plate. And what's also kind of fun is you can make healthy versions of everything that's available you know what's going to be at that dinner. You've been going there your whole life. Make a healthy version. Bring something to share. No one's going to complain that there's extra food. Make something to share. And you know what? As you start to bring these healthy dishes, people will start to talk. Oh, what you got there? And then you can spread the little nuggets of holiday health. Why not?
Little nuggets of holiday health. There's your takeaway, guys. I love it. You know, and I know for me, very early on in my journey, I was probably about maybe 8 weeks into the program. And we were at a social event where there's a lot of food. My family, well, you don't get to close to 400 pounds without having a family that loves food. And we were at a family event, and my mom said to me, how are you doing on your diet? You know, she was really concerned about me feeling restricted and deprived. I mean, she was very excited that I was getting healthy, but she was really concerned because there was food all over the place. And I didn't bother explaining to my 83-year-old mother that it wasn't a diet, that I was changing my lifestyle. I knew what she meant. But what she didn't understand was I had focused in on what I could get. And at that point, 8 weeks into program, I was laser focused on, I want to ride a roller coaster. And so there was nothing on that buffet of food that was better in my mind than riding that roller coaster, or sitting on the floor to play with my grandchildren, or being able to fly in an airplane, or you guys can fill in the blanks on what it is that matters to you. But when you focus in on what you really want, there's no sense of deprivation because it's about what you're getting instead of what you're giving up. So tell me this, Brittany, here's our next question. With such a large amount of weight to lose, did you reward yourself as you met certain goals along the way?
Oh, I did. I'm a very visual person. And if you're going to set forth on this journey, like, all right, Brittany, you're going to lose 336 pounds in 2 years. Go. That seems kind of crazy. That seems a bit much. But if you chunk it down and learning to not, because food was my go-to for everything. I rewarded everything with food, good or bad. But whether it was buying myself a little kitchen gadget, or just little tiny rewards, or a little treat to myself, or just taking a little extra time for myself, or even just saying out loud, celebrating I did this, or telling somebody about it, or celebrating a new, like, I can put on my sock without gasping for air.
It's the little things, right?
Right. The little things are the big things. And even now, I'm maintaining my weight, I'm optimizing, and I'm still, like, today, whenever I put on my shoes, like, oh, wow, that wasn't difficult. 2 years ago, that would have been challenging. But again, just chunk it into little goals, keep the big picture in mind, but don't forget to celebrate the small things along the way. And I'm sure in a journey as large as yours as well, you're used to, again, chunking that down to make it more manageable and more fun.
I loved, the thing is, with this whole celebration thing, and those of you that are working with a coach, you know your coach is celebrating your successes as you go along with you. And that celebration process is really important. We get more of what we celebrate. And so I did the same thing, celebrating along the way, whether it was with a massage or maybe something, maybe it was just, costume jewelry, but I know like the big landmarks, like when I got to 199, a number that I thought I'd never ever see, because I started at 387, I had this ring that I've been eyeing up for a long time, and I wear it today. I don't ever take it off. It's a reminder of who I am, where I've been, and what I've accomplished. The celebrating, guys, is really, really important. It's really important because again, as you celebrate, you'll create more successes. This will be a short, quick and easy one, Brittany. How long did it take for you to get to your desired weight?
2 years. 2 years, just about on the dot, for 336 pounds, 1/3 of my former self.
Now, you guys know, all right, those of you that have been with this program for a while, it's going to be different for everybody. But if there is an advantage to having a lot of weight to lose, it is that the weight comes off pretty quickly. And that was my experience as well. I lost 215 pounds in 19 months, just a little bit over a year and a half. It was absolutely life-changing for me. And whether you have a lot of weight to lose or a small amount of weight to lose, maybe no weight to lose at all, what I love about our program is that we specialize in predictable transformation. You follow the program, you get results, and I love seeing that. So here's the next question. Oh boy, I've got some I want to make sure that we get to, so we'll see if I can get all these in. Do you want to speak to, the question was, did you ever cheat? Now it's hard to cheat when you're transforming your health, but anyway, what they mean by that is, did you ever go off plan? Did you ever eat anything that was not on your meal plan?
So I know this is gonna be kind of crazy for some of you to hear, but no. I didn't have the desire. Once you get, like you said, you're so laser focused, you will do, when your why becomes bigger than your excuses, you'll do whatever it takes to make it happen. And I saw very quickly what it was going to take to happen, so you just keep doing that. But what's kind of nice is over the 2 years of my weight loss journey, I found healthy dupes for almost anything that I would have been eating before that was bad or off plan. So now, as I'm optimizing, I've got this whole repertoire of healthy dupes that I'm ready to go. So there's no real cheat. Again, like you said, it's no, just no.
Well, it all comes down again to what you want. And I remember Brittany was down probably about 300 pounds when I said, have you ever had anything off plan? She said, nope. And I said, come again? But that's why she gets the results that she does. I can't tell you that I was that faithful to plan, although I was pretty laser focused, because you know what? I wanted this. I wanted better health, and I wanted to get there as fast as I could, and as, in a healthy way, which is what this program allows you to do, because I wanted the results. And so I, there were times that maybe I was off plan just a bit, but not for long, because I wanted this. I wanted better health. Talk to me about this, Brittany. What was the biggest challenge you had during weight loss? And I'm asking you this first because this is a question that, I'm not even quite sure what I'm going to say yet. So maybe you'll jog my memory.
So I guess the hardest part was just seeing, because my mentors, my coach, and you personally saw all this potential before I could see it. And my biggest struggle was battling my mind. Like, I saw at the end of week 1 what it was going to take physically to make it happen. But I realized then that I needed to work on what was going on internally. I didn't just wake up at 514 pounds. I had 23 years of habitual badness that created that. And once I realized that I needed to tackle what was causing that, that was the hardest part, realizing that I needed to tackle it. And then I realized, well, I've got the support to actually tackle it. Let's do it. But that realization and that click, that was the hardest.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that for me, it probably was, I remember one of the challenges that I faced fairly early on was the realization that I was going to have to figure out how to deal with my emotions in a way that didn't involve food. And I remember being about maybe 8-10 weeks into the program and realized, wow, I can no longer do this thing that, like, I'm angry and I eat, or I'm frustrated and I eat, or I'm tired and I'm lonely and I eat, whatever. And I thought, wow, I'm going to have to, because I was clear in my mind I wasn't coming off plan. So I had to figure out a more profitable way to deal with my emotions, which of course was more beneficial to me in the long run, because eating candy never makes you less angry. It doesn't, okay? It never makes you less lonely, okay? There are other things that will make you less angry and less lonely, but candy does not, or whatever, fill in the blank, you know? So I think that journey, that transition was challenging for me, but it was probably also the most rewarding, because that was something I didn't think it was possible to be free of. I've had people that have said to me, yeah, but I'm an emotional eater. Kind of like the way you'd say, yeah, but you can't change that. But you can. It's a habit. And learning to change that habit has been one of the gifts of this program. And if that's something that you struggle with, talk with your coach about that. You know, to say, look, Shirley said there's a way to be free from emotional eating. How can I do that? That's more than we can cover on this call, but there are some other webinars, other habits of health webinars that address that really well. Talk to me about this one. Brittany, I was going to answer this one, and I think I'm going to open this one to you as well. For somebody who has a lot of weight to lose, how did you find support? I mean, the way the question came in, they said, you know, is there a special support group to access? And I think really the question is, how does someone with a lot of weight to lose find the support they need? I'll tell you this, Brittany, and I'd be happy to have you to speak to this as well, but I found that for me, it was important for me to know that it's possible to lose that much weight. But I didn't need to regularly talk with someone who had lost that much weight. Some of you are aware, my original health coach lost 0 pounds in the program. He was fit, he was healthy, okay? I didn't need my coach to have lost a lot of weight, and I frankly didn't need to talk to a lot of other people that had lost a lot of weight. What I found was more beneficial for me was to imitate the people who were really, really healthy and really, really fit. And I just needed to know that it was possible. And this webinar, that's kind of what this webinar will do. I don't know, Brittany, is there anything you would add to that?
Like you said, there's not if you're like a super weight loser, you don't have some secret sauce or secret mojo that you had. We're all following the same thing. It's like you said, you know that it's possible. You've seen I did it. You've seen that Shirley did it. You see time and time again pictures and videos shared of people who've done it. So you know it's possible. That's when you know that, all right, with this guidance and with the support that those people had, I can do it too.
Exactly.
There's no special sauce.
Yep, exactly. And I think for me, it was just knowing that it was possible. And if you would like some more support on this, if you would like to see more of the webinars that Brittany and I have done on this topic, if you go to the Habits of Health webinar archive, and if you don't know where that is, just talk to the person who invited you on this call and say, where can I find the archives of all of these? When you find that, search for freedom, okay? All of these are titled Freedom from Obesity. And if you search for freedom, all of these will pop up and you can listen through them, because we cover different questions on the calls, and that'll give you a little more support from somebody who's been there, walked the path, and has experienced some of the things that you're experiencing. Oh, this is an easy one. While maintaining weight loss, do either of you still use the fuelings?
Of course. It's one of those, it's one of those, so for 2 years I used them to help me lose the weight. Well, if I can not, so I used them for 2 years to help me lose the weight. Obviously, I like them. You're not going to do anything for 2 straight years that you don't like. Plus, I just really like the fact that I can have a brownie whatever day I want and not have to feel guilty about it, like ever.
It's funny because I was going to mention the brownies myself. And I think sometimes when people ask that question, what they want to know is, do I have to use the fuelings in order to maintain a healthy weight? And the answer to that is no. But don't take those brownies away from me. That's all I have to say about that. So talk to me about, let's see, we've got just a few minutes yet left. Okay. This question came, this is a great question. And this person says, I struggle with a sugar addiction and I'm having a hard time staying on plan because of it. What are some of your suggestions to stay away from sugar? Now, Brittany, I'll give you a shot at this too, but I'll tell you, I'm pretty direct. So forgive me if I'm a little direct. If you know you have a sugar addiction, the best thing I would tell you is don't eat it, okay? I know, for example, I know that peanut butter has no business being in my house. I got an issue with peanut butter. If peanut butter comes in my house, I'm eating it by the spoonful, Okay. So I know no peanut butter comes into Shirley Mast's house ever, ever, because I know that's my weakness. And so I don't have it. So it doesn't come in. If it doesn't come into my house, I can't eat it, because I am not brazen enough to stand in the grocery store aisle and eat it. Okay. So I don't know, Brittany, what would you say to that for somebody who struggles with a sugar addiction? I mean, I don't want to be simplistic and say, hey, if you know you struggle with it, just don't ever eat it. But that's kind of where I come out on it.
So first off, amen to that. Check yourself. You know what's going to cause issues. Like, again, peanut butter. Can't have peanut butter here. Or if I get, like, nuts, I have to individually baggie them out because I know I'm a grazer. I've learned my own habits. But when it comes to those addictions, well, if it's sugar or if it's something sweet, you can find something that's sweet but still healthy. Like, you don't have to, you got to get out of the deprivation mindset. Like, that's where the killer is. If you're stuck in the, oh, I can't have this or I shouldn't have that, well, no one wants to live a miserable, deprived life. Whenever you switch that to, but I can have this and I'm going to feel so much better afterwards, well, doesn't that feel better already?
Exactly. Wasn't that worth showing up for, guys? Are you guys finding this to be helpful? Are you finding some tips that are, that you can take home? And if not, feel free to watch the webinar again once the recording's posted. Do we have time for two? I know which one I have for my last story. I mean, the last question. Talk about this one, Brittany. The question was, how did you get your mind to catch up with your body? And I'm assuming what they mean is as you lose the weight, to see yourself as a thinner, fitter, healthier person. Did you have a struggle? Did you have a disconnect there? And if so, how did you address that?
Some days it's hard for my mind to catch up. It's a roller coaster, and some days I'll be folding laundry like, how do these pants fit me? And then I put them like, oh wait, that's just what my size is now. Because before, folding pants was a full-on exercise. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, like you celebrate those victories and what you can do every day, and you just know that some days your mind's going to take a little time to catch up to that. But that's where, again, the support is key. Because if you're having one of those days where your mind quite can't catch up, there's people who can help you through that. You don't have to do this alone.
Yeah. I think that was one of the things that I was really concerned about, probably excessively, probably unnecessarily. And so I was honestly very deliberate as I lost weight, really noticing what my body looked like. It used to be that I would get dressed in the morning and, ladies, you put on your makeup and you never really pay attention to how you look. Okay. And I started really noticing, really observing, I would get dressed and say, and I would look in a full length mirror and pay attention to how my body looked. But I will tell you this kind of funny story. This was probably about 6 months after I'd lost the 215 pounds. And I was walking down a sidewalk past glass windows of a storefront, caught my reflection in the storefront and thought, wow, that gal looks great. Wonder who that is. And realized it was me. And it was like, oh, wait, that's me now, huh? Well, darn, that's kind of fun, but you'll give your mind some opportunity to catch up, and it will. Hey, Brittany, I want to make sure there's another webinar coming on after this, and I want to make sure we get done in time, but I think you and I can watch the time and answer this last one because I think this one's really critical. The question is, what's your secret to maintaining a healthy weight loss over time? I think this is probably one of the biggest concerns for somebody who has a lot of weight. It's not about can they get the weight off, because they can see the program works. It's how do you maintain that over time? And I know people have heard me say, I'm not afraid that the weight's coming back, and that's true. Speak to that, Brittany, on what do you think is the most helpful secret on this?
So I had mentioned in the weight loss process, when your why is bigger than your excuses, that's when the magic happens. That why. And my why has changed. My why has gotten bigger. My why keeps evolving. I go back and I keep I keep adjusting that. It was first my students, and now it's I'm getting married and I might actually be able to have kids someday. And if that's going to be possible, I need to make sure I'm keeping my healthiest self so I can make that happen and take care of them. So revisit that why. Stay true to that, because if you have a reason to keep going, well, then you're unstoppable.
Exactly. That's awesome. And, I know for me, it's about plugging into all aspects of the program. It's not just about what are you eating in the meal plan. It's about staying in contact with your coach. learning the habits of health and practicing them. So I'm preaching to the choir here. You guys are already on the Habits of Health webinar. That's an excellent habit, okay? Making sure that you're plugged into community, whether it's Habits of Health calls, maybe you've got a Facebook community group that you're part of, that your coach has you in, as you help your friends get healthier. All of those things are going to be key to long-term success. So Brittany, thank you so much for being on the call. I know you inspired a whole bunch of people all over again. And for all of you who joined us, we're just so glad you joined us for this call. I'd encourage you to do two things. First of all, connect with the person who invited you onto this call and share with them one thing you learned, one thing that inspired you, and so on. And the other thing I'd encourage you to do is share something from this call with a friend who would find it to be inspiring. Maybe share the link to the video recording of the podcast, because when we help others, we get stronger in the process too. So again, so glad you've joined us. Make it a great week, and we will see you at 8:30 Eastern next Wednesday night for the next Habits of Health webinar.
This audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some OPTAVIA coaches or clients of OPTAVIA. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the OPTAVIA team.